Because I'm talking about the environment, I really hoped that I would have an opportunity to record at least one of these pieces in our garden here down in Bangor. But the rain has, as I say, stopped play. And this is a very salutary reminder, I think, of the fact that we are not in charge of our environments. We may think that modern science has given us control of them. We're well accustomed to light at the flick of a switch, for example. But of course, we are not in charge of our environments. We must work with the environment. And one of my favourite biblical passages is the wonderful 38th chapter of the book of Job. And in this, the poet reminds us of the splendours of creation and of the environment. And these are words that are attributed by the poet who wrote the book of Job. These words are attributed by him or her to God. "Where were you," the poet asks, "when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding, who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Who stretched the line upon it? On what were its bases sunk, or who laid its cornerstone, when all the morning stars sang together and the sons of God shouted for joy?" And this chapter goes on as God talks about all sorts of wonders of creation. The storehouses of snow and hail, for example, the channel of torrents of rain, the chains of the Pleiades and the cords of Orion. It's full of glorious illustrations of the majesty and beauty of our environment, the environment for which we, of course, are stewards. Now, it's only a few years since the use of plastic bags in supermarkets was prohibited. And I wonder if you remember how hedges and trees used to be festooned with sort of shrouds of decaying plastic bags that seemed as if they would be there in perpetuity. But because we've taken control of that aspect of our environment, we no longer use plastic bags in that way. We're a bit more responsible. We've changed our environment. We have stewarded it better. But look at the piles of plastic that are accumulating in other countries of the world. What are we doing to our environment? One of the things that the recent COVID outbreak has done is, of course, reduced air travel, which may be an inconvenience for us. But do you think you've heard more birdsong? Do you see more insects, do you think, in your garden? Do you think that that might be a benefit to our environment, that there are fewer planes in the sky? So we must balance what we think of as convenience and what we think of as our responsibility to our environment. Our responsibility also to one another's. We may not see the plastic festooning our trees, but that doesn't mean it's not damaging our environment. Some denominations are actually appointing officers to take charge of environmental concerns and to ensure that their different congregations are informed about these issues. This is very important for us. We must not fail to remember that we are stewards of the environment. We have drawn beauty from our own gardens, but let's think of the entire world as our garden. Let's think about who is our neighbour. Let's think about our responsibilities to one another on a global stage. And let's see if perhaps we can work for change as Christian stewards as we come out of the current restrictions and look to new ways of living.